All right, let's talk to Luke in West Virginia, who wants to talk to us about the implications of electing a libertarian. Luke, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
You
Yeah,
want to?
something I've
Sorry, what was that? Go
something
ahead.
something I've been thinking about lately is, the election, the midterms are coming up soon, and I mean, I've been reading about that guy, the pizza guy in one of the Carolinas. I forgot which one. He might actually win. I doubt it. But then you have a lot of other elections where the steam might be going for a third party. I'd say the Libertarian Party actually get a.
I'm not familiar with this. Did you just say the pizza guy?
There is a libertarian pizza delivery guy who's running for office.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is this like
I'm thinking,
who was that guy who owned like Godfather's Pizza that ran in the last election?
Papa John's? No, I have no idea.
Herman Cain, right?
Herman Cain, the Federal Reserve Chairman of Kansas City or wherever.
Right.
He's a real conservative, sure.
Right.
But anyway, I'm thinking, okay, what if someone gets elected to one of these offices, and the media can't spin that. They can't take someone like Rand Paul or Ron Paul who have libertarian leanings, and then one day label them libertarian, one day label them conservative. And if someone has an L next to their name, and someone on election night has their district colored in gold, they are a libertarian. What happens when they don't necessarily aren't? They're just Democrat or Republican light, because Democrats or Republicans are so anti-freedom that someone who just isn't that could win.
Well, the Libertarian Party is a little different than the Democrats and the Republicans in that the Democrats and Republicans pick their primary winners through just votes. I mean, but they pick their general election candidate through a primary. So I could say I'm a Democrat, even though I'm a pretty unconvincing Democrat. And if I happen to get enough votes on primary day, I'm the Democrat. Whereas the Libertarians appoint, and usually just beg, but they appoint their candidate. So at the very least, they've had the vetting of the local Libertarian Party.
Well, I don't say this because I don't know what's going on here, because 2 years ago I helped to push to get Libertarians on the ballot. No one has to file anymore because of the work that my campus group did. But I'm thinking, a lot of Libertarians, I look at their different candidates, I'm thinking they just have the idea of socially tolerant and fiscally conservative, but not from the idea that, hey, people have rights. You're not allowed to throw people in cages for dumb stuff. You have the right to your body. That's not where they're coming from. So if they get to Washington and they're one of these people who isn't really someone who is a libertarian, but still appeals to your non-thinking voters the same way Republicans and Democrats do. They may be a world better than them, but they are the one person who gets in there, and what they do and everything they do is the idea that everyone's going to have of every libertarian that goes to Congress.
Oh yeah, I think that
they're not very good.
It could be a very different. Yeah. It could be very bad if we, for instance, elect a libertarian to some major office, and people are like, and then they're not as libertarian as they're supposed to be. Plus, then there's just sort of the things that happen. I mean, if you elect Rand Paul, for instance, even if he does act like a straight line libertarian all the way on every issue every time, and I don't think that he necessarily would do that.
Extremely unlikely.
But if he did, he's still going to have to deal with whatever the world throws at us, and he's only got 5 years to be right or wrong, and he's not king, he's just president. So he has to deal with the laws that are sent to him. So the worst thing for the liberty movement might very well be getting a libertarian elected to a major office.
That's kind of what I'm saying, because it's what I'm saying. It may not be. Make sure when you're going around doing your grassroots thing, supporting people, make sure they're not just some guy who's going off the coattails of everyone who actually did a lot of grassroots work to get.
And I think that's extremely true. I think that's extremely true that you really, really have to be sure that the person who you are rooting for is principled. That's why I think so often that myself and also, Ian especially doesn't support someone like Rand Paul because he's not principled. That's why.
Yeah.
I supported Mary Ruar in the last election or the election before when she was actually
When you say
running.
Rand Paul isn't principled, what do you mean? The things he says or the things he votes on? Because I suspect you haven't looked at his voting record.
I've looked a little bit at the voting record, but let's talk about, like, for example, droning people coming out of liquor stores.
That's just the stuff he says.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
He doesn't pitch libertarianism the same way his father does.
There have been some votes that he's made that have been extremely questionable as well. I mean, I'm not prepared to tell them to you right now because I don't care. I just care that I just know enough to know I don't like that guy, and I don't know all the exact details. I don't want to spend my time focusing on that. But if I wanted to, I could go get you a list. If you really wanted to know what votes I think of his are extremely questionable.
Because from what I've been able to see, it looks for all the world like he says stuff to appeal to conservatives in order to get conservative backing, and then he votes in a way that is quite understandable, libertarian-oriented.
Well, I'll look into it, and I'll get back to you on that, because I don't think that's true.
Every time he does something libertarian-oriented, they say he's just trying to build alliances with progressives and things like that, instead of saying, hey, he's doing this, and here's the reason, because he believes in or this works better or something. It always, whenever he does something that gets a very good popular opinion maybe on the left, it's always he's alliance progressive, that's the libertarian part. Whenever he does something that doesn't appeal to the left, he's a dirty conservative. Or even, they'll slap libertarian on very negatively, but whenever he does something positive.
Luke, do you have any final thoughts for us tonight?
Just watch who you're supporting. Watch who you're donating your time, your money to. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. No, thank you for the call, Luke. So, I mean,
one thing I know for certain is we're going to have a president after this one.
Yeah.
You can pick which one you think you'd like it to be. I don't think in the general election that your vote counts for much. I don't think that there's been I'm almost certain. I'd be willing to bet a large amount of money that they're among I think it's probably close to 1,000 general election, presidential elections, because each state has its own election.
Right.
Every time. So, and they elect for the electorates. I don't think there's ever been one where it just separates by one vote.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.